Today we are making a vegan eggs benedict. We're going to be putting together a quick and easy vegan hollandaise sauce as well as a runny egg yolk sauce. And I've eaten my fair share of eggs bennies before going vegan, and I can say that these were some of the best benedicts I've had, vegan or not, so let's get it going. For the luscious and lovely hollandaise sauce, we're going to get 1 cup of raw cashews. We're going to soak them in some boiling water for about 15 minutes to soften them up. Next, let's get about 1 cup of unsweetened plant milk. Use more or less depending on how thick you want your sauce, but this is the thickness that I got with 1 cup. Then let's add a ½ cup melted vegan butter, salted or unsalted. Just adjust your salt accordingly. Then next, about 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast as by law, a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric for color, a dash of cayenne, ½ a teaspoon of salt or to taste, a 1/4 teaspoon mustard powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of lactic acid or more lemon juice. And then last but not least, a 1/4 teaspoon of black salt for some eggy flavor. It's optional, but I dig it. Our cashews should be soft, so let's drain them and then add them to a high-speed blender along with our milk and seasonings, and you simply just want to blend this up until it's nice and smooth. And then we're going to taste for seasoning as always, but that is your super easy vegan hollandaise sauce. I told you it was simple. And if you have leftovers, you can see that it's going to thicken in the fridge, but all you need to do is gently heat it back up on low. I don't suggest microwaving it as that can cause it to get lumpy, but just after a couple minutes, it's back to its former glory. You can add a little more milk if it's still too thick as well. Now for our runny egg yolk sauce, it's equally easy, and this was inspired by my friend Jonathan over at Ticho's Table. Give him a visit, a lot of cool recipes on his site as well. But for our sauce, we're going to get a ½ cup of water as well as a ½ cup of neutral oil, and then we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast, of course, and then next 1 tablespoon of ketchup and mustard, which might sound odd, but a lot of vegan egg yolk recipes use tomatoes, and mustard is a good emulsifier as well. After that, we're going to do 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a ½ teaspoon of turmeric, 1 to 2 teaspoons of magic savory glitter, aka MSG, and then some salt to taste. And black salt will give it an eggy flavor, but we'll add it after we've heated it up since heat tends to dull the black salt's flavor. But first, we need to blend this up, and I'm using my trusty immersion blender. You can do this in a regular blender, but I would suggest slowly drizzling in the oil as it blends to emulsify the sauce. But once ours is blended and smooth, we can see that it's kind of thin, but that's okay. The next step is to add it to a saucepan over medium-low heat, and we just want to gently heat this up to activate the cornstarch to thicken the sauce. Once it does start to thicken, we're going to kill the heat, add the black salt, and then remove it from the pan. And if you don't remove the sauce from the pan, you will probably break your emulsion like I did here, but that's okay. I simply blended it up again in my blender, and now it's back to its smooth and silky self, so don't sweat it. Even if you do, worst case scenario is you got to clean a blender. But there you go, a super delicious vegan yolk sauce that can be enjoyed in a bunch of ways. However, today we're making an eggs benedict, so let's get back to that. And for the egg itself, we're going to be using our good friend tofu. I wanted to keep this part simple, so tofu works out great. I find that either super firm, which is vacuum sealed and requires no pressing, or extra firm that's been pressed for 30 minutes works best. But we're going to want to slice our tofu into about 3/4 inch slices. Typically, you're going to get 2 to 3 slices per block. Then we want to cut out a section with a cookie or biscuit cutter like so, and don't worry about the scraps, you will have a lot, so you can use them for a tofu scramble or some tofu ground beef if you like. Now once our little eggs have been cut out, you can either cut out the center like so to create our tofu donut, or tonut as I like to call it. And since I'm a level 5 vegan, I like the taste of uncooked tofu, but if you want to season and cook it, go ahead and do that, and then after cut out the center hole. This is just because the tonut is kind of fragile and might fall apart if you try to cook it after making a hole. Speaking of, don't crumble up the tonut holes. Instead, slice off a little top, and this is going to keep the yolks from bursting out when we pour over our hollandaise sauce, and that's all there is to it for our quick and easy vegan tofu egg. For the ham, you can use some store-bought stuff like one of these. Tofurky has a good ham, but I only found this in the fridge. My buddy Mike at Bold Flavor Vegan actually has a few ham videos, as well as a poached egg video, which is based off of my fried egg video. But yeah, a lot of options there. You could also use my rice paper bacon recipe and make a West Coast Benedict, but more on that later. I'm going to go the quick and lazy route and use some store-bought. I like to heat it up along with my English muffins. Oh, and speaking of English muffins, most of the ones I can find are accidentally plant-based. The most popular ones by Thomas have a tiny bit of whey in them, so as a vegan, I have to say no way, Thomas. But I just like to toast my English muffins, my vegan ham, and my vegan egg, if I please, for a few minutes, and now we can assemble. So first we'll go muffin, vegan ham, our tofu donut, and then fill that up with our vegan egg yolk sauce like so. Put on the little tofu hat on top, and now we get to pour over that thick and delicious hollandaise sauce and just go to town if you like. Next we can sprinkle on some cayenne or paprika, some chives or chopped parsley, whatever you like. And now we can dig in and let's get that runny yolk to do its thing. And like I said, this was just super ridiculously delicious. I've had a lot of vegan and non-vegan Benedicts in my time, and this is in the top 3 easy. It's definitely the best vegan Benedict I've ever had, hands down. We can also make a West Coast Benny, which uses tomato, avocado, and vegan bacon. Honestly, you can really top this however you like. And even though I was full, I had to dig in, and yeah, just like the classic, this one hit all the notes that I remember. But unlike a non-vegan Benedict, I don't feel heavy and tired after eating it. That's one thing I remember from going out for Benedicts. Afterwards, I needed a nap. Not so with these. So I really do hope you all give this a try, and if you want to see some more vegan breakfast recipes, check out this playlist I got right here, and until then, I'll see you all next time.